Okay, we're finally to the rattling. You will often see in videos, in instructional videos and on YouTube, people are going to talk about rattling for a minute every 20 minutes, rattling here and there, and rattling sparingly. I completely disagree with that. I've been rattling whitetails for 30 years, and I don't think you can rattle too much. But there's a certain way you're going to want to go about it though. Okay, so here's a typical sequence that I go through. Bucks are not bighorn rams. You've seen rams on television, boom, they hit their horns together. Okay, whitetails don't do that. Whitetails, because they have these pointy antlers, typically don't come together hard like that the first time. What they often do, and maybe you've seen this, you've watched bucks sparring, they start by just kind of touching. So imagine two bucks facing each other and they're just sort of touching. They tinkle their tines. They're just sort of starting to engage each other. So you'll hear them sometimes like this, tinkling. It's a great way to start. No animals like to get called at loudly right away. You can scare them. There could be a buck really close. And if you just start banging right away, you might scare them, okay? Just start lightly. Just start like that. That happens to be how they engage. They often start lightly like this, but then they get going. And they really get going. Imagine two 300-pound bucks fighting, and once they lock up, then they start pushing. You're not banging them together, okay? You're not banging them. You're grinding them. They grind, okay? They grind and they push and they pull, and you can see how aggressive it is and how your hands could get hurt and why those brow tines got to be off these antlers. You're grinding them like this. And that's really all there is to it. The big thing is though, you really can't do it enough. I often hunt whitetails near valleys and I can see the whitetails, I can see the bucks coming. I have almost never seen rattling scare them away by rattling too much, but I have seen so many times, I've seen the bucks stop coming when I stop rattling. In my opinion, you can't rattle too much. The only thing that'll limit you will be being tired and your hands getting worn out, which is why I pick sort of mid-size racks. The really big antlers, I think, they're too heavy and too hard and you're going to get sore, your wrists are going to play out. The small antlers make tinkly sounds and they don't seem to work as effective. These are my magic set. I've probably rattled in over 100 bucks with these two antlers. These are about the right size. They seem to make the right sound and they don't wear me out too bad either. So let's say you've started your sequence by tinkling, you've really got them going, you've been grinding and rattling, you've been grinding and rattling, and now you see a buck coming. You can see them, and they often sneak in on you and they're coming. I rattle low, so he can't actually see the antlers, but he can hear the sound. And one of the big things you're gonna have to do at some point, when you stop rattling, they'll often stop coming. So you wanna keep rattling, but you gotta be laying in or hiding in a position where you can get your gun up, okay, or you can draw your bow. And you're gonna have to do the one thing that's so hard to do with the whitetails, and that is make your move to get your shot without them jumping and running. And that's an art, not a science. That's waiting for them to pass behind a tree. That's waiting for them to turn to look at the doe that's over behind them. You gotta make your move at a time when they're not staring right at you, and that is a real trick. That is the last part before you close the deal, and that is what makes hunting whitetails so fun and so incredible. Hope these tips help you have a lot of fun hunting whitetails this year.